I feel like paint can be so frustrating for people because they want a change, but they don't know how to do it.
Yeah, it is. When we go into a home, whether it be, well, not really even a home, it could be a home, it could be a daycare, a church, anything that we do, restaurants, that is sometimes people thinking about what's the hardest part of the job. For most people, it's not even paying for it. It's picking out the colors.
Yeah, so true.
So, I mean, we ran into that this past summer at a very popular restaurant in Spartanburg, Sugar and Spice. We always do all their work down there. We keep up with all the fun stuff down there, the old historical part of it. But JC, the owner, he was like, I want to do something different. I want to do something fun. He was like, what if we do something like, I was like, what about, let's kick around the Spartan burgers a little bit, because Spartan burgers is new to Spartanburg and there's a lot that we can incorporate there. So we did the whole theme of the inside of Sugar and Spice, like the Spartan burgers.
Oh,
So
nice.
it was very untraditional, but it's blue, it's green, it's got the color of the hamburger is actually incorporated there. It's when you go in, it's just like every single color that's in that mascot is there.
Now
So
tell me that wasn't fun to go and pick out those colors.
it was, but it was very hard because you had to dial it in just right. Like the
Yeah.
right blue, the right green, the right red for the tomato. It was fun. But as a homeowner and as a between a homeowner and a business owner, it makes it a little bit harder because you don't really want to be responsible for picking the wrong color, because a lot of times people pick out the colors at the store. And those lights are a lot different than when you get to your home. So if you have incandescent lighting, or you have natural daylight lighting, or if you have a lot of windows that bring in a lot of light, every color is going to look a little bit different based on the hue that is produced, whatever light is producing the hues. So something can have a brown undertone at home, and then when you at the store, it may look a little more blue because of the fluorescent lighting.
So this is not a one and done. You would recommend when people go to the paint store, if they're doing it themselves, to go ahead and get a swatch, take the time, bring it home, and see how the light plays with that color. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, 100%. And I'm even at the point now where I don't even recommend a lot of the like taking the samples and putting it on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
because like Sherwin-Williams and a lot of these other stores, like the big box stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, places like that, they've actually went away from, so like the samples that you see in the stores that you can buy for $3 or $5 a piece, they're paint. Don't get me wrong, they are a form of paint, but they're not. They're thicker paint, and it's not actual like what you're supposed to paint with. So what people do is, if they get that paint, they take it home, and then they put it all over the wall. Well, then no matter what we do, like it you see everywhere they put that paint,
Oh
that
no,
sample. So
that's
so like
terrible.
you see all these swatches everywhere they've done it underneath there, because it's such a thicker surface. So we have to then kind of sand back over the walls and
Yeah.
make sure that it's hidden as much as possible. But yes, but now they even sell these little 4x4 or 6x6 panels. They're little squares,
Mm-hmm.
and they have they're like stickers, and they have like the most popular colors. Like Sherwin Williams, if you go in there, there's like 50 colors, but
Uh-huh.
it's colors that are most popular to the average homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're not gonna be able to go in there and get a bright pink or a red or a
Yeah,
one-off color,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you get
Well,
what
I
I mean,
like
like
that.
your natural.
I like that idea because it's not the tiny little swatch that really is hard to visualize when you get it home and put it on the
Oh
wall.
yeah.
Something so small, it's just hard to know. Now, tell me about the different types of paint that are out there. We've got what, gloss, semi-gloss. How does that work, and,
Well,
and how do you decide what to use?
so for me, the way I try to let my company and our experience and our reputation sell itself when we're
Mhm.
on the job. So the way I look at things is, so Sherwin Williams offers a wide variety of stuff, and I compare it to going and buying a car. If your budget is an entry level car, don't go look at the fully loaded one. But
Yeah,
you
it's
know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah,
So the same thing goes with paint. Like paint, that a lot of contractors and a lot of paint companies, what they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, well, we use Sherwin-Williams paint," as a selling point. Well, that can mean anything, because people don't realize that Sherwin-Williams offers a entry-level contractor grade paint, which is what is in a lot of the newer subdivisions, the cookie cutter homes that are just bam, bam, bam.
yeah.
Your Montrose, your Dan Ryan's, your all those homes. They're just pushing out the fastest product for the cheapest amount of money,
Mhm.
and that's what the paint is going into those. It's the cheaper $15-$20 gallon paint. And then you go into your moderate line, which is your entry level professional line. Then you can get up into your nicer paint, which is your duration paints and stuff like that. So there's actually three lines that I would say Sherwin Williams offers, and those are the quality of paints.
Mhm.
And then you get into your durabilities. The durabilities of paint is actually like flat. There's some eggshell finishes now, and then there's some satins, and then you get into semi-gloss, and from there you can just you don't really want to do anything major over that on the walls, especially. Typically what we see is a good washable flat, which is unheard of in a lot of markets, honestly. There is, and then we have also there's a new matte finish for people that want a flat look but just a little bit of washability. That's a very good product too.
Now, you say washability. If it's not washable, does that mean you're not getting a stain off, or you're not getting a scuff off of the wall?
Right. So if you go with a lower grade of, say you go with an entry level flat or like a contractor grade flat, like what you see in the new builds here lately, you get something on the wall and you try to wipe it off, the paint will actually come off on a rag or a sponge or whatever you're washing it with. It's called paint transfer because one, it doesn't adhere to the sheetrock well, and two, it doesn't have properties in it to actually do the protection that you're looking for. So the better the paint, the better protection, and then the better coverage. So a lot of people think, oh, well, I can spend $20 a gallon on paint, but if it costs just as much to put that many more coats on the wall,
yeah,
actually not saving any money anyway. So we don't even offer anything like that as far as cheap, like the cheaper grade paint.
yeah.
We have customers ask us time to time, hey, if we buy our own paint, can we do this? Well, I mean, I'm not going to warranty it, but I'll paint it for you, but I'm not going to purchase it.
Right. So, and I think that when people use your service, they're really taking a lot of stress and a lot of headache off their plates, right? Because y'all do this
100%.
day in and day out. You know how to do it correctly, but you still have people that dig their heels in. They're do-it-yourselfers. Some of them are very skilled and good at what they do. But for those that try to wing it, a lot of times it doesn't turn out so good. When they go to a paint store, when they're trying to do it themselves, just give us 3 points to remember. Like, if you're going to do this yourself, here are the things I want you to remember to do right.
Don't let the price, the initial price of something run you off from getting good quality products to put on the wall, because we see that from time to time, all the time, actually. And most of the time, one of the biggest things that we see as me as a business, and I was actually having this conversation with another person recently, because we ran into this problem in bathrooms and in areas where there's high moisture, humidity, and where water and steam cannot get out. You see people that go to the paint store or go to Lowe's, Home Depot, or whatever, thinking, oh, we can save money by going to these places and buying this paint. And just because it's, it's top of the line at $60 a gallon doesn't mean that it's good quality paint. That's just the chemicals in the paint is what makes it quality.
Yeah.
But what happens is, and you may have seen this before as a realtor and going into homes and seeing this, and a lot of people may see this that may watch the podcast. If you're in the bathrooms and you ever went into someone's bathroom and you looked at the walls and they look like they're sweating.
Yeah.
They're kind of freaky, and they look almost like if you touch it, it's sticky, but what that is, that's a chemical called surfactant. And that is one of the top chemicals that is put into paint, and how well it's put in and how much it's put in and how it's calculated. It makes a difference, because you can't control what's in that paint. That's in the factory. So when you look at that and you see that's the chemicals coming out of the paint because of the heat and the moisture in the air. That's causing it to stay too damp, and it'll ruin it. It will actually. I've had to have a lady actually cut out all her sheetrock in her bathroom because hers was so far gone.
Oh my gosh, that's a big repair. Huh.
It was, yeah.
Goodness, not just a customer, but I'm also an advisor when I go into someone's home when they want to put it up on the market. If I walk into a room and it's bright orange, no matter how much they love Clemson, that might be polarizing to a buyer that walks through. Now, most people are not going to buy or pass on a house just because of the paint, but it's that first impression, that first impression of, does it feel clean and look clean? Are the colors neutral? And I think that's usually how people want to go. What kind of colors are you seeing out there right now that people are asking for?
It changes. It changes about every 18 to 36 months. It really depends on what's popular on HGTV with Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, that's like these in TikTok, like these influencers and stuff. They come up with these ideas and they do all this stuff. But we went from the early 2000s for about 10 years. Had earth tones. Those were very popular.
Like this, right? Like
yeah,
this.
that was very popular. Yes.
Yeah.
That your tans, your browns, your greens, your yellows, and stuff like that. And then about 5 to 8 years ago, whites and grays came in.
Oh, grays. Yeah. The agreeable gray, right?
Agreeable gray. If I had an extra $100 for every home that we painted with gray and agreeable gray or repose gray, then I think I could be 40 and retire. But But now what we're seeing is we're trending back now. It's like we're seeing some different stuff. We've been doing some greens here lately.
Like neutral
We're
green?
still yeah, we've done a couple. There's a color that we've used several times here lately called clary sage, and I don't know really where that came from. If there was influencing coming from somewhere else, TV or anywhere like that. We're not sure, but we try to ask the homeowners. I try to because I'm very detailed in my estimation processes and try to make a relationship with the homeowner. But whites were really popular for the past couple years. A lot of people were painting the outside of their houses white, painting the inside of their houses white, and they were doing like we were doing houses where everything was the same color white. The ceiling was white, extra white, but it was flat finish.
Yeah.
The walls were extra white and they were eggshell finish. And then the trim was the same exact color. It was just gloss finish. So you had the same color all through that house, just different sheens.
Yeah.
But then, on the flip side of that, we've done several homes. I really like doing accent walls because you can do a common color throughout the house and have flow, and then turn around and just throw a pop of color somewhere just to give it some decoration. Like we done one 3 weeks ago where we went with a color called crushed ice through all the house. Crushed ice is like a very soft gray, white gray color. And they had a big photo on this was down in Glen Lake. These people were from Florida and they had a picture of the ocean beside the fireplace. And it was a big canvas. It's probably like a 6-foot-by-4 picture. They wanted something to incorporate that with, so we went with a color called Blue Cruise as the accent wall where the fireplace was, and that blue just brought that picture into play.
Wow!
And it brought that room together, and it made them feel like they were back in Sarasota, Florida.
Oh my gosh!
And they loved it. So a lot of times customers tell us just to use. They say they see our work, they see what we do, and they hear about us, and they just say, "Hey, look, we trust you. Like let's you do whatever." Like I have customers I never meet. I'll be honest with you. From different states, California, Utah. We've done so many houses for people that are moving to the area, transferring for jobs or work or whatever the case may be, and we may never meet them. We do jobs like that. So
the house is all ready to move in by the time they move here. Is that right?
Right. So that they may be buying a house and say they reach out to you and you're either the buying agent or the listing agent, whichever one.
Yeah.
And if I'm your painter of choice, you call me and you say, "Hey, Frankie, I've got a customer that's moving here from California. They're buying it sight unseen. This is what they'd like to have done. Let's go in and take a look at it. We got the lockbox. We go look at it. We do a FaceTime, we do a virtual video, whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
And we give them a quote. We tell them what this is going to cost. We tell them when we can do it, and we try to have it done for them because it's a vacant home. So that way, it doesn't have to go on our regular schedule. Because a lot of people will call us and say, "Hey, how far out are you?" And I'm like, "Well, it depends on what you got. It depends on how the house is. Because if you're working every day and you're coming home and you're cooking dinner and you're getting your kids ready for bed and stuff, we need to be respectful of that. We need to make sure we're out of the house by 5 o'clock, 5:30, and get out.
Yeah.
But if it's a vacant home or a vacant restaurant, or a church or something like that, we can work longer hours. My crew can get overtime, right? So they can go and work in these places. That's how we do schools and stuff like that. So like we just not long ago we picked up MVP Academy and we picked up Meeting Street Academy downtown Spartanburg. So with these schools, we like to do those after hours, right? And then we like to do them when we can get in. So it makes it easier when we're not working around everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you ever stood back after a job is finished and said, "Man, that looks so great"? Any particular story jump to mind?
One of my favorite exterior jobs that we've done was a previous customer of mine. He purchased a little over 20-something acres. I'm sure he'll end up seeing this video and realize that I'm talking about him. But
that's okay. It's all in good light.
Yeah. So he purchased a little over 20-something acres over here in Chesney, and they had a vision for this log cabin looking home, and it looked like something that should be sitting on a mountaintop in Rocky Top. It was just gorgeous. And he and his girlfriend had a vision for this thing. And they was like, we want to stain the outside of it. Some of it we want to stain like a natural wood look. But some of it we want stained black. And I'm like, really? Like, are we really going to do that? And she was like, "It's going to look great. It's going to look great." Well, then we started doing it and we got done with it. And let me tell you something. That is one of my pinned Facebook story passages or whatever when you go to our Facebook page. That is one of my pinned jobs that we have on there because it is so gorgeous with that black stain and then that natural stain. It comes together. That was one of my favorite ones. And then just anytime we do something when we feel like that the homeowners didn't think that it could come out, it is, or like a church or something. Like we done an older church recently down in Whitmire, South Carolina, and it was just an old country church, right? It had a lot of old wooden paneling and it had popcorn ceilings, just really dark and dated. I mean, the church was built 30 years ago and it just never been painted, just an old country church.
Yeah.
Well, we went in and we had this vision for it. We painted the outside and then we turned around and we're like, let's do the inside. So we went in and we gave them a quote to do the inside, taking all the popcorn removal down, repairing all that. And then all the paneling and all the woodwork and all the wooden doors were primed with oil primer. And then we went in and with just top-notch stuff in just 2 weeks of just changing the church. And if you go on the page and you look at the befores and you look at the afters, you would think literally like somebody's playing Houdini on you, because you would not recognize that place. Like there's people in the church that commented on it and said, there's no way that's our church. And I'm like, yeah, that's the same church.
That is amazing. What a transformation.
Stuff like that helps. And then, when we're able to give back too, kind of helps too. But once a year we try to do something where we want to try to help somebody when we can. We do that once a year. We try to find somebody once a year and do that. Somebody that's either had a hard time and just try to help them do some stuff like that. So those are always really great. This year we did one for a kid that he had lost his dad, and he was a big college football fan, and he was a Tennessee fan. So I was going to help him out. So,
100%.
So we for Christmas, that's what we did for him. We went in, we painted his bedroom Tennessee orange, and we got him some decals and put on the wall and gave him a fresh new act, and it's just he loved it. So
what an amazing thing. Yeah, really giving back to the community. I think that's awesome. Real quick, you touched on the popcorn paint and also the exterior paint. How difficult is it of a job to get popcorn paint off if somebody wants to just update their, because that's an automatic update for people to get the popcorn sealing off.
We do probably 4 to 7 a year, if I had to guess. It varies. Now it is one of the most costly things to do.
Because you have to hand scrape it off, right?
Well, no. You do in some instances, depending on the situation and the lay of the land. But we have acquired a machine. It's a German-made machine. It's called Festool, Festool, for those that want to look it up. But it's a German-engineered machine that basically it's got a extraction machine, and it's got a dust collector, a hose. It's got this big long wand, and it's got a sanding disc. And on these sanding discs, you got different grades of grit, of how abrasive it is. So based on if the popcorn has been painted or not, or if it's just never had paint, it's just still white, just powdery, kind of just falling off. You take the machine and you just go along the popcorn, and it basically sands it off, sands the sheetrock, and sucks everything into that dust collector. And then it lets you know, and you dump it, and then you start back over. So there's a lot. Now that wasn't a cheap machine. So in the process, and what that does is that cuts down a lot on your mess.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times in the old days, you just go out there and you wet it, right? You wet it and then scrape it, and then it'd fall, and then you have to clean it all up. Well, with this machine, you can literally, I've got videos and photos of stuff where we're actually we put paper down and we put drop cloths down and everything, and then but there's really just a few little things here and there. And the only time you really get into any major dust or anything like that is when you have to do a little hand sanding on anything where you've had to do like mud repair or tape repair.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So other than that, I mean, it's a pretty simple process, but there's a price point there where but that includes your popcorn repair or your removal and your paint priming and your painting. But it is a very rewarding look when it's done, because people don't realize how bright it makes it in there without the popcorn, because see, it's a dead flat and it has texture, so it's not reflecting light. So
makes
so
sense.
it always looks darker up there. So when you take that down, you're going to see more. You're going to see more of your light.
Interesting. All right, exterior paint. Do y'all do like line washing? You mentioned the staining. You do it all. Is that right?
Yeah, we do all that. Now, I really wish that the lime washing thing would have never been created. And there's a lot of factors why I say that is because in paint, when you paint something, there's a right and there's a wrong way. Yeah. Okay. There's a right paint and there's a wrong paint, or there's a right application or there's a wrong application. With lime washing and whitewashing and stuff like that, there's no right and there's no wrong. It's all customer driven. What's here and what's here for the customer. Because if they say, hey, we want just a little bit of brick showing, okay, well, that doesn't tell me the formula that we need to have this paint diluted down to make it where you can see a little bit of paint. So if we put paint on your brick home and we didn't put enough water in it, well, there's no way to go back from it. Once you go in, you can't come out.
Yeah.
You can't back up and punt. So what I tell people is, if they want to go with a whitewash or a lime wash, I really don't like doing all them types of things.
Yeah.
I'll do it on a fireplace or something like that. We done one last week where we actually did a stone fireplace in the house. But small stuff like that we can get by with, but an actual 1,500, 3,000 square foot brick home.
That's a big decision.
But yeah, it is a big decision, but it's a big commitment. However, when we paint brick, a lot of people don't realize that brick has to be able to breathe, and it has to be able to sweat, has to be able to do what it is, because people don't realize bricks are just like basically mud and sand and water. And people may ride by. If you had a brick home and we painted your house, and then your neighbor down the street has a brick home and we painted their house, they may ride by your house and say, well, why does hers look like that? Well, because they were made at different times with different mud and sand and water. And every brick is made the same. So that's what gives you that look when you ride by a brick home and you see that it's painted, and it looks a little like if even though it's the same color, it may look a little whiter here, a little less white. That's what gives you your defining factors is the way the brick is. But you have to prime it first, of course. You have to prime the masonry with the masonry primer, so that the brick will properly sweat, it will properly be sealed, and it will properly do what it's supposed to do. And once you prime it, you can use pretty much whatever you want on the top coat based on what your budget is. But when you do a brick home, what we like to do is we like to prime it with a product called it's made by Sherwood. It's called Loxon, Loxin, and then they actually have a product that finishes out on there. That you can actually prime and paint and finish it out. So we've used that several times on a lot of on some restaurants and like Zaxby's and different stuff like that. A lot of shopping centers and stuff like that. We've used that on those, and they have a self-cleaning technology where they stay clean longer.
Okay.
They have a polymer, almost like a clear coat built into them, to where when it rains, it helps it stay cleaner longer without having to put pressure washer and chemicals on it as often.
Got to know how to do it right, and that's why you're here, to help us, right? So tell us how people can contact you if they've got some paint jobs, because we're about to hit the big time spring market for home selling, and everybody wants to make sure they're looking.
Yes. So first of all, a lot of people have a misconception of wanting to wait. And that is one thing I personally just do not recommend, because what you do then. So if you're thinking, oh, well, I want to get this done in the spring, if I want to get this done in April or May or whatever, don't wait until 2 weeks before. Don't call and say, hey, I've been thinking about this for 5 months, but I want it done next week. Be proactive about that. Reach out to us and get a free estimate. I mean, if you're in the upstate of South Carolina or any surrounding areas within reason, we'll be happy to come out, take a look at it, measure it, and go over the products that we're going to use and do everything that we need to do and tell you exactly what you're going to have in it. Whether you use our service or not, we're going to point you in the right direction and tell you what you should be getting quotes for. And because in our business, you shouldn't have 3 different quotes, one way up here, one way down here, and one just kind of lingering around.
Yeah, that's true.
You should be in the same realm of standardization. But as far as contacting us and reaching us, we have several different ways. Our biggest and most active one is Facebook.
Yeah, you're all over Facebook.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm in your face all the time. Facebook is very good for us. As social media, we have a verified Facebook blue check on there, so it's very easy to find. Stewart Paint Service LLC. I'll send you over the link. You can post the link in the QR code, or if you wanted to. That's a very easy way to do that. And then you can also, and it has all of our reviews, and that is updated as we get done with the job. Like we don't skip anything. I mean, if it's a little bathroom, we'll paint. We'll take before and afters. If it's a big job, it's before and afters, and probably some progress pictures and stuff to keep people active all the time. And there's a lot of reviews there, videos, pictures, stuff like that. And then on Google, go to Google and just type Stewart Paint Service LLC, Spartanburg, South Carolina, or whatever you want to type. It pops right up. We've got some of the highest ratings on Google, that's just how we operate.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's awesome. Well, it's a great resource, and your Facebook page is a great way to see the good work that you do. And all I would say is just keep up with Chip and Joanna, so you know what color's coming next, right?
Yeah, I'll let the homeowners and everybody deal with all that, and then
you got your plate full of this.
We'll just continue putting it on the wall and hoping that people are happy. But yeah, I mean, as far as the services that we offer, interior and exterior painting, of course, for residential and commercial applications. So whether or not you're a homeowner, a business owner, a restaurant, a daycare, churches, anything, if it has paint on it, we can service your industry. We can serve you. And then we can be very competitive with our rates because we don't do any subcontracting work. All of our guys actually work for us.
Nice.
And so that's very important in this industry right now because, of course, me personally, I don't want to hire somebody and then you see them one time and then all of a sudden somebody else with a different logo is out there doing your job at your house.
Right.
And then you don't know who's responsible for it. So there's a lot of bigger companies. I call them bigger companies, and companies like that like to do that. But we just don't. We try not to do that. We are who we are, and we're going to be on your job with our guys and our insurance and our logos.
Perfect. Well, Frankie Stewart with Stewart Paint Service, thank you so much for being with me here on How's the Weather.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know if you've heard it, but
I hear the rain.
It's raining pretty good here. So
and by the way, I'm also a meteorologist. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do that on the side. I like to chase storms. So.
All right, Frankie. Well, thanks again. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. If you need anything, give us a call, and if you need anything sold, call Christy.